What's up, Kosova? This is Coach Q. I'm your host for the upcoming podcast called Never the Right Time. We are on every Tuesdays, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. 103.5, 105.5 Urban FM. We're going to be talking all things around health, fitness, lifestyle. Please check us out. Welcome back to another episode of Never the Right Time, Kosova. This is Coach Q, your host. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Onza Recovery, 5-Star Fitness, as well as Menda Salon. This is the 15th episode and the last episode of this season, hopefully. And I am with Elida O'Connell. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
First off, to kick it off, I mean, this episode I feel like can go many directions because you have such a decorated, let's say, career, and you've done quite a lot of things. But before we dive into it, I'd like you to maybe give us a quick introduction of who you are, what you do, and where you do it at. And then we can kind of go into those different topics, such as like trail running and the first trail race that you've done in Kosova or in the region, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's kick it off with there.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. And I think this is my first podcast in Kosovo.
Okay.
And I feel quite privileged. And I hope that you'll continue your second season.
Thank you.
And hope the funding will be there.
Yeah.
Basically, my profession is producer journalist. I used to work for AP for 27 years now. And at the moment, I'm on break. And I'm concentrating on my family and on trail running. And
I think we had a very nice discussion outside of the studio just to kind of understand, like, some of the topics that we wanted to talk about. And I think, so currently you are training you have a race this weekend, as I understand.
Yeah.
40 plus K.
Yeah.
Which is like serving to be a tune-up for the upcoming big race, which is sort of the creme de la creme of ultra running, right?
That's right.
And that's... what is the acronym again? UMT?
UTMB. Okay. UTMB.
I get to M and T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's UTMB and is as known as the Olympics for the trail running.
Yeah.
So first, just to be part of it, you need to have a points.
Qualify for
it. So you need to go in certain races, participate in certain races, run few 100 kilometers. Depends which race you want to go. But for me, it was I had to do a few 100 kilometers, and then to qualify. So to participate, finish, and qualify, and then you go, and then you are part of the lottery. So this year, we 4 of us from Kosovo Trail Running Association, we're going to go in 100 kilometers.
Wow.
And another 4 of them are going to go in 170.
170
with 10,000 elevation and 100 kilometers with 7,000 elevation.
Oh, wow.
Which means it's the height of the climbing Everest.
Wow.
Basically. And this is in Mont Blanc. You start in France, you go to France, Italy, Switzerland. So This is the triangle that you're going to run.
Are there just, I guess, in terms of races, is 100 the shortest distance?
No.
Okay.
No, this is the second.
Okay.
No, there are another 2 races after this. So it's like 60 and then another. I believe it's 40 or something like that.
Okay.
But to run 100 and 170 is the dream of all the trail runners.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean,
it's.
I mean, if you really get into this sport, that is what you are. That is your goal.
That's the highlight
Yeah.
of the trail run. I mean, if you accept it,
Yeah.
and then if you successful and you finish, That's the Olympics for the trail running, as
And
like
then
gold medal.
And then I guess it's about trying to maybe continuously go after that.
That's right. That's
because
right.
you have
So if you
to keep qualifying for it, right?
yes,
Just because
yes.
you participated once
no,
doesn't mean
no.
the next
So
year.
then you start again. So your points, if you want to go now for 170, then you go on. Then for whole year until November, you have few races.
Yes.
And this is the race. The race is on 28th of August. So basically, then you have a few months to participate.
And
go
even
a few races.
because of the elevation and the location, I guess there's probably a limited time window, right?
Yeah. So
that you can do it,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So in almost you will have 7 time limits, checkpoints where you have. So the pressure is huge.
Yeah.
The elevation is big. The kilometers I'm not going to talk about because you can imagine. But then so it's like all the pressure and the elevation and the probably the moments you want to vomit. So everything and then the fear that you're going to be disqualified.
Yeah.
So and plus it's technical. So the race is very technical. People die because if you're
get
not
lost,
careful,
for
you get
example.
lost.
Yeah.
So your orientation has to be very good. Because you run through the night. So it's no stopping at all. There is no stopping, and you run through the night, and then you have to be your vision because it drops. So you're in middle mountain. We're talking about it's the highest mountain in Europe.
Yeah.
So you have to be.
And the terrain is ever changing as well, right?
It's very technical. So it's known to be very technical, and. You have to be as we say, we have to be really switched on, and you really need to concentrate every step, we say. So literally every step you have to think about how you're stepping, and it's pitch dark. That's the thing. It's like in the middle of the night. This is the challenge for us, and the elevation is going to be a big challenge. Especially for me, that I moved from Kosovo to London, where the elevation is
as flat as it gets.
Flat as it gets. So for me, I have to play with. I have to play. I have to go. I'm lucky that we live in North London, which is the trail is like literally a step away from me. But the elevation is big part, so you need to. I will need to come back
adjust
and forth
to the altitude.
Yes, come back to Kosova. We have a huge plan where that one of my very good friend and the head of trail running in Kosovo, Burim Leti, he made this huge plan, and we kind of try and follow his plan. So the idea is for us to come back and forth and to go and train in Rugova Mountains, in Shar. We're going to do all the Shar vertical. That this is going to come in the next few weeks, basically. And months until August.
And then also being on a mountain, right? The natural elements, right? The mountain doesn't care, right? The weather.
No weather. No.
This race, once it goes, if it starts snowing, raining, whatever,
that's right.
You have to deal with that, right?
So you have basically from the organizers, they say, okay, you need to prepare 2 kits. You need to prepare summer kit, winter kit. So you need to have you need to carry all the kit with you.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not going to take this thing, so it's heavy.
You
need to carry both of them. Last year they had snow up in the mountain, hail and snow.
Wow.
And the year before it was during the day it was like 27, 8. So they had people were dehydrated, dropped. it's around 62% people of trail runners they finish. So it's very, very tough, and especially and women, now it's for women it's even worse, obviously.
But it's one of those that, so I guess roughly you said 40%. So then it's one like, I guess sometimes when in certain let's say physical tests, imagine they ask, like the instructor asks, like, hey, take a look to your left, take a look to your right. One of these people is not going to be there in the finish line. It's really that kind of situation.
Yeah, that's right. So in this race, I'm going to run with another 3 people. With my friend Blirta, we are trying. We are actually practicing together. We are going in 2 races. We are together because we need to adjust our paces together, characters, because we all have ups and downs during the race. So basically, there are times where literally your body, after 20 kilometers, it's not, you don't even have to go 40. After 20 kilometers, your body wants to like shut down, basically, because it's all like the adrenaline, the height, the technical side, everything. So you just want to basically stop. Your body says stop. So, and then you need to be really in peace, and you have to have it's important, the partner that you run with, and to have that same energy, and then to know when actually, is it the time to stop? Is it, am I going to die? Am I going to have heart attack?
Yeah.
Or is it just, I'm tired and we need to give energy to each other and support each other and just overcome the last hiccup that we have.
Yeah, excuse me. It's really interesting because as individual as one would think it is, rightfully, and it is, like that's an interesting dynamic that plays where you have this team element to it too, right? Because I'm sure there's plenty of races that we might get into where you're just solo, right?
Yes,
and it's really that journey that you go on physically and mentally, whereas then here there's also someone else that I guess it's maybe comforting. It's also maybe scary at the same time, because then probably each other might feel responsibility, like, oh, we need to kind of help each other. But at the same time, it's nice to maybe also have someone like, is it just me, or can I get a sense check? Are we okay, kind of thing, right?
There are runners that they do run
by themselves.
Solo.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not that one. I did a couple of races on my own, and I found I could see myself. I pushed myself a lot, which you shouldn't. You need to find that kind of balance, especially in a long distance running. You need to know how much energy you're spending at the start, how much energy you're left in the middle, and when to fire, as we say. So and I found myself that if I'm on my own, I finish the race quicker, but I lose more energy, which I don't want. My priority is I want to go in the race, enjoy the race, push myself to the limit that I can wake up in the morning, take my kids to school, and run next day. So after 6 hours, let's say our last race that I did with Blair, I was 111 kilometers, and it was 27 and a half hours we ran, literally. So, and you can imagine, and we went through all the hail and snow and freeze, and I threw up, and I was very sick. I threw up but then, but I never crossed in my mind to stop, But the journey that we went together, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's just incredible.
How else can you create such a kind of special bond as well, right?
Exactly. And that's and then you find a moment. So there were times when she stood by me and said, okay, so slowly. She's a very calm person, natural calm person. I'm very energetic. I'm very different. So, but then the balance is very right.
There's the yin and yang
because
going
then
on
when
there.
she is like, I know the ways that to uplift her, talk to her, and then just as I say, we just need to pass the bridge. Once we pass the bridge, then we just hit the trails again. So it's like that. But to be with a person for 27 hours or 24 hours in the extreme weather, during the night, where literally you can't see your feet, and obviously, you hallucinate. Which happened to me a couple of times. I could see, not bears, but I could see figures, something, moving, and I thought, oh, is that something, or can I hear something? But then, as you say that, that, okay, the mind is playing a trick with you. So I'm not. I started trail running, I think, 2017 by accident. But I had to, at that time, we didn't have Instagram or all this, we couldn't follow all the best trail runners or the science and the knowledge behind trail running. So basically, most of the things I learned through my own mistakes or mistakes of other trail runners in Kosovo. So the group that I run, that I belong with.
Because it's a small knit community,
it's a
right?
small community which is growing, I mean, incredibly, and which we're all very super proud of.
Yeah.
Because we're not just changing people here, but we're changing the families as well. Because one person comes, and then by coming to the group,
it's like, hey, come on.
He stops smoking, and then by coming there, stops drinking, and then and then next few months, then we see he's coming out with his wife, or the wife takes his partner, and the kids are going out. So we literally are changing communities, and just to see the change, first to see the change that I brought to myself, and then to my family, and then to my circle of friends, and then seeing other people, it's just there is no better joy. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of energy is very contagious, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you see someone kind of light up, and then
That's right.
the next person, and also I think it's even more powerful and reinforced because, again, like someone starting off from, and I think this is a great segue into how you stumbled into running itself, but like to kind of overcome that adversity, right? Like when no one's run and then they decide to run 5K, for example. Well, in your case, it's going to be a bit different. But
yeah, exactly.
But like to, and then they get through it.
Yeah.
Because, even those 5K, however long it takes, like, the mind is playing tricks on it. It's like, oh, I want to stop, or I don't want to do this anymore. And then like they get through it.
That's right.
And then it's like, oh, I did it. Right. And then that might snowball into something else. And then it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll try 10K or something further. And, if they can, if that inspires them to continue, then someone else will see that. Right. And then someone else might start their journey into whether it's
something
trail
unknown.
running.
Exactly. Or whatever their interests are. So basically, I had luck. I was never interested in running. I was like, what's this? My husband, he always said, oh, do you want to come running with me? He always used to do like 7, 10K, 5, 10Ks. And I was like, no, I'll just go and play tennis. So I knew I had endurance, like playing tennis for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But running, it was never my thing. And then when we moved here, so he used to run in London. When we moved here, I had a friend as well. Same, he said, come where there is a group in Gurmia. Come, you like nature, come. I was like, no, this is not for me. It's not for me. Or I'll come tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then there was a Pristina half marathon. And then he said, okay, let's go and just do for charity. I was like, okay, fine. Let's just do 5K. I'm just going to register for 5K.
Yeah.
But in my head, so then I convinced a friend of mine, Vjosa, Vjosa Berisha, who's very like the icon of Pristina, who passed last year. And she's like dearly missed in Pristina. And I convinced her. I said, why don't you come with me? I said, I never run. Let's go and do 5K together. And Burem is going to do half a marathon. And she said, okay, let's do it together. But in my head, I never told Vjosa or Burem or my husband, who was waiting for me in the house because we had plans to do with kids. I said, I'm just going to try and push myself to do 10K and then I'll return.
Okay.
So, but then to my surprise, because I was so basically, I never even looked at the map. We started from National Theatre, and then as soon as we arrived at the church, the route changed. So the half arrows, went on the right, and the 5K went straight. I was like, oh my God, what do I? So I just stopped, and then Vjosa said, "You, Elida, memu kundina." I was like, no. I said, I'm going right. He said, no, right is half a marathon. I said, no, I want to go right. You continue. I'm going right. So I started running.
4 times the distance.
When I arrived in Kosova, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And the dust everywhere. Rory was calling me on the phone. I was like, where are you? I was like, I picked the phone. I said, oh. I was like, I couldn't even breathe. I said, I'm running half the marathon. And it was just like, and anyway, so to my surprise, I finished.
Yeah.
But I sat afterwards and I thought, I just couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe that I've done something. And then that's when I knew that, okay. So I knew, at the time we didn't know much about endurance, but I knew there is something there. I knew. So very soon after, I said to my friend, okay, where is that meeting point in Gurmia? I want to come.
For the running team.
For the running team.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how it started. There is a group that they go every day, Monday to Friday, 5:40 is kickoff, 5:40 a.m. And it's Katra, Kosova Trail Running Association. And you start and they do the loop 9.2. They finish by 7 o'clock. They go and have quick coffee, and then everybody goes to the works and to do their own job. So I went and I joined. So we did the first loop. And then this is when I met the first time Burim Lietzi, and he was like, oh my God, he said, I can't believe. Normally when first time people come, they can't do they stop, start. Because
it's not just running on flat
it's flat
ground.
So it's like, yeah. So because they go all the top bit, which for me was the first time, oh my God, I never seen this part of Gurmia. I went there. Obviously, I grew up in Pristina, but I was never up there. It's like the unknown. You go there just to die, basically. So, and I knew, so there's something inside of me. I knew that I was at peace.
Okay.
As soon as I started running, I knew.
And was this a little bit of a different feeling compared to that half marathon?
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
like being in the natural environment.
Being in a natural environment, it gave me that tranquility that I think I was eager to find, that I didn't know that I was missing. And then slowly I could see what the joy that the nature was giving me, the finding how my body was reacting to different circumstances.
Yeah.
And then few weeks after, part of the half of the team they were registered in some kind of trail running to go in Cyprus, and it was like, oh my God, how do you go? They were running like 60 kilometers. I was like, what? How can you run 60 kilometers?
Yeah.
So, and they said, okay, so next they had, the plan was one of the weekends to go and to run 50K. And I was like, okay, I'll come. So literally my trail running shoes, I had like tennis shoes. I was running with my tennis shoes. So I went with them, and I said and there was a point where half of people were collapsing.
Yeah.
Some of them, so my friend was saying, okay, you come with me because you can't do anymore. You have to finish. It was 20 something, halfway. And I just turned to Burim, and I could see that he has knowledge and he has about trail running. And I said, do you think I can continue? And he said, how you feel? To me, he asked me, I said, how do you feel? And I said, I feel very well. I said, I'm okay. And he said, okay, we'll continue. So then half of group went back, and then I started. So few weeks after, I finished my 50K, and it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I could do this. And then 2 days after, I was again in Gurmia. So I could see that my body is coping very well. And this is something that I could continue to do. And then from then I just started going
you caught the bug.
to one race after the other. And people like my friends, they were saying, oh, what are you doing? What is this? You're covered in mud. What is this thing that you're doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to your body? You can die. You can have heart attack. Are you crazy? So it was just very unknown to everyone. And then slowly, it was very few girls that they were doing this at that time.
Yeah.
And then slowly, I was very lucky that the guys in the group were totally respected. And I took kind of the lead, and I said, okay, we're going to change a few things in the group.
Yeah.
We're going to change the dynamics, how everyone is talking about women and men. And I said, instead, this is going to be like a therapy for all of us, that we come here, we can tell each other what's happening in our lives.
A safe place, right?
A safe place to talk about. But then the moment we stop, the rumors stop. So we have to take it like that. And we're going to try and help each other to help each other develop in work, raise our families, raise ourselves, achieve our goals, and slowly like that.
Foster an environment of growth, right? There's going to be banter or like, joking around because you start to form a bond. But then
exactly.
I guess it's sort of like if I would use the gym as the analogy, it's like, beginner or expert, like we all have a place there. We all have different reasons why we might be going there. And at the end of the day, you want it to be a place where, you don't have to, like, it's a carefree environment, right? Like it's respectful to others, but same time, but it's like, you just don't know like what someone might be going through or thinking about, or like where they are in that journey kind of thing. But at least it's like, hey, you can come here, you do your thing, and and then you just go on your way kind of thing, right?
Exactly. And if there is anything that bothers you, if you want to share with someone who can help, or if you want to just cry, or if you want to just share a happy moment, this is a place. And that's how we started. So we started changing the dynamics, educating ourselves. I'm putting myself as well there.
Yeah.
Educating ourselves. And then we participate in some race in Macedonia. And then slowly we were like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do a race in Kosova. We're going to do 100K. And then this is how the idea came of the Trail of Hope. Trail of Hope.
Yes.
Which it was amazing, because it was unheard of to do 100K, but not to do a loop. We wanted to mark apart from doing 100 kilometers, but we wanted to mark the event of 20-year of anniversary of the war in Kosovo, and we wanted to touch the main points of the whole villages where war happened and where people were touched and killed, and we wanted to remember all the victims. So we saw the idea, so we sat, and the idea was, okay, we'll start from Yashari family, from Prekaz, and we're going to go to Koshara. And this is where it happened. So we made, and then the brain of the operation of the map was Burimleti, who made everything. I mean, literally, it's like, it was just unheard of.
I mean, it's a colossal project.
In the middle of winter. So we're talking about March, because we wanted to do it exactly in the month when the war started. And we wanted to do a race that we went from Prekaz to Likoshan to Izbica to all the central Kosovo, Dugajin area. We went to at that time Prime Minister's Haradinaj house, where he met us. We went there and commemorated all of his family, and then from there we went to Koshare, which is in a border with Albania, and where hundreds of KLA soldiers died there as well. And the operation was so big, and the people. So when we unveiled the plan and the details, I mean, the runners that they belong to federation here, they were like, this is impossible. You cannot do this. And we're like, yes, we can. And slowly, we had huge campaign. We had big PR. Arine Zamula was in charge for the PR, together with me and Uragan. And suddenly we had hundreds, around 560 people running the race. And I think we had, some DNFs, obviously. But...
but still, this isn't just a 5K race.
But we're talking about 90% of people, they never ran more than 10Ks.
Yeah.
And they managed to do it. So,
wow.
Excuse me.
I mean, it's, the whole thing is such a colossal project to organize. And then you guys are also training at the same time, right?
Excuse me. So, organizing, training, and running.
Yeah.
So basically, it was just we had like 5 distances, and it was unheard of.
Yeah.
We had the support from the government. We had support from institutions. We had all the possible sponsors. Everybody wanted to get involved because no one heard that trail. What was the trail running?
Yeah, I mean,
it was
also
unheard of.
introducing Kosova to this, right?
Introducing, exactly. So we were saying that there is running that you can actually do for free. The nature is there. Kosova has amazing, beautiful mountains. And we wanted to promote that. We wanted to promote
celebrate
that. Just to say to people, just to open their eyes, just to say, look what we have. We have Sharman, we have Rugova Mountain, Gurmia. It's beautiful. At the moment, I'm so sad. So I was running the other day, and I just can't believe that there is all this building happening, and I'm hoping that at some point they will stop. But Gurmia, it's beautiful, beautiful trail to run. So it's just and you can see now more and more there is so many people they wanna join the group. They join the group. People ask us for helps.
Yeah.
And it's I think we made a difference.
It certainly sounds like it, and I think in the beginning these, I don't know if niche or fringe sports is the right way, but people are, what they don't know, right? So then obviously they look at it from a perspective where like, okay, what are they doing? This is really weird. This is strange, and probably a slightly negative of as probably you receive the feedback. It's like, it's so dangerous. Why do you put yourself into that? But then like when you can kind of celebrate it, and on top of it, really with such a a beautiful theme in the backdrop, right? And then it's all of a sudden it's like it's something really to be proud of, and then I think that would create a much more enticing and welcoming kind of environment for people who aren't as exposed to that, to kind of like, all right, at least start to become curious and realize like, oh, why this is something that maybe I can even do, right?
That's right. We had a couple of events. Obviously this is not all fun. I had serious injuries doing this, doing the trail running, which we can go back after. But in one of the moments there was a weeks where I kept saying, humans, a couple of years ago, humans have no limits. And everybody was impressed and saying, why you say that? Humans, sky is a limit. I was saying, no, sky is not the limit. Humans have no limit, because I could see myself. How that impacted on me. And I could see that the human body is it's very unknown, and the science now is proving, and I'm sure with AI now, we're going to know more and more things about everything, how we react to the certain moments, and how bodies adjust to the certain moments. But here now, I'm happy when I see lots of like sports people or women, when they say, yeah, sky has no limit now. So now it's after a few years, but I'm happy now that basically slowly the impact that the group or myself or other runners, the trail runners, they have impacted in the community, that people can see that. That I still believe, and I go with that theme that sky is no limit, and that all of us, we have different forces within ourselves.
Yeah, I think.
Do we do sport? Do we do sing? Do we do but we do have that energy that you can change yourself, your family, the community. And especially in Kosova, where the place is so small, that little positive changes, you can do so many changes. And the feedback that you have, it's so satisfying.
Yeah. Word of mouth here is very important, right?
Is. Yeah.
And then when they see those kind of changes, maybe not in the beginning when it's incremental, but gradually, it's these small steps. And
right.
Like yourself, well, you took quite a few big steps, I think, from like 5K, half a marathon to let's go 50K. But these small steps are compounded, right? And so 3 months running to then 6 months to 1 year, it was probably night and day for some of these people, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
right after, so this Trail of Hope, that was, I guess, a success. Then is it sort of from there, did you start in your journey into trail running and ultra trail running? Like, what did you start to set these goals of like, okay, what is the next
That's right.
kind of distance, or is it sort of was it, or Mont Blanc already kind of insights from that
So
point?
the Mont Blanc was always there.
Yeah.
And the first time, I was accepted in 2020 as well.
Okay.
But then it was the COVID, so they cancelled.
Oh.
And so they cancelled the race. That was the first year when they cancelled the race. It was always that. The dream is always to come here.
Okay.
And obviously, when the first time, when I heard about Mont Blanc, we were like, oh my God, this is the one we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And but before that, every race that we went, it was more, we wanted to have another race that is more challenging. If it's,
So what's the next level
the
up
next?
kind of? Yeah.
So is
okay.
it like, do we need technical race that we need to go? Do we need kilometers to extend?
Yeah.
What do we want now? So, and then we wanted something that we never been there. We wanted to go in the middle mountain and see the place in different.
Yeah.
So this is how and I always go with a group.
Okay.
So we always set the goals and the plan.
Yeah.
And in between every year, we always have like 1 or 2 or 3 marathons that we go in like, like Rome or New York, or so we did all these marathons, and then we do but that is just for fun. We go there, we go in the best restaurants, we go and sightsee.
Yeah.
We just like for fun. We do run. We do, and if somebody wants to break the goal of under 4 or under 3:30, then they do exercise for that. And then the rest of us, if we want to break our goals as well, we do that. Or if you just want to go and run for fun and just enjoy, we do that. There is that as well. But the main focus is always the events that of the trail running. Different places that we go.
That's like just really beautiful, like how there's this incredible camaraderie as a team, with, again, kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, where I think people think it's such an individual thing, right? Yes, you have to do the race, right? No one's going to run it for you.
That's right.
But to kind of be able to have a team environment where, yes, you train, and then everyone has maybe individual objectives, but then as a team, you kind of put together a plan together, and then also decide where you guys are going to go. And then there's all these other activities that kind of surround maybe the race, and it becomes like this really, in some ways, like a very active holiday kind of thing, right?
That's right, and we need to. That's exactly. You described it very, very like 100%. It's like that. And then the other problem that we have is like we have to involve the families because the weekends are involved.
Yeah.
The kids are being left, and the partners as well. So we have to have this understanding. Like, okay, this weekend is not very good for me, or this weekend we have to do, or we wake up very early sometimes. Not sometimes, most of the time. We used to start and practice at midnight here. All night, run at night. So practice at night
to get used to night running.
Night running.
Yeah.
I remember for first time when I ran at night, it was just like, oh my God, this is just so frightening. But same time, there's so much to learn because it's very different.
Yeah.
It's very different. So it's not just the running at night and you can't see and it's scary, but it's the reading the map.
Yeah.
You are responsible for the group behind you, because if you're off the track,
everyone's following you, right?
Everyone is following you.
Yeah.
So it's just, and it takes time to come back. Sometimes you lose hours. So and this is where at night on the different races I found that I'm very good at night. So now it's known. So if it's at night,
you're leading.
I lead.
Yeah.
If I'm there, I always lead at nights because I like leading at night, and I'm quite aware, and I can read maps and I can see things in front. Or if Burim is there, Burim Lietze, we always joke because he has to follow. Otherwise, if he's in the back, he falls. He will stop and he will fall down. So we always have this joke because we have to at least but in the races, I do the night.
In terms of sort of, you mentioned like being able to navigate and whatnot, and I don't know if this is something you're comfortable to kind of talk about, but like you had mentioned when we had coffee the other day, that like it was this whole journey in trail running. Also, it was a bit of a full circle moment in many ways, right?
That's right.
Like
That's right.
there were, you described that, you know, during some of these races, you're like, hey, I've been doing this,
done
and
this
I didn't
before.
know I was doing it.
That's
right.
right.
The circumstances were very different,
That's
obviously, but maybe if you can kind of describe that a little bit.
Yeah. So as I said, so I started working as a journalist during the war in 97, 98 then. And for me, it was very unknown going from working in the fields as a journalist. It was just like, I knew that I was attracted by television. I was attracted by the video. I was attracted by film. I knew that's something that I always wanted. And when I started working for AP, at that time, there was all these checkpoints. Like to go to let's say to Drenica, you couldn't just go in straight using the route in the map, because there was a checkpoints, and then you could. So, and I always knew. So I always had the map, and I knew how to navigate through the mountains, and I could. After 5 hours, I could, let's say, if I wanted to go to Lukashan, I was there, which is like, from here, it's like, let's say 50 minutes drive. But in 5 hours, I knew I was capable to find a route to go there. And we used to walk in the mountains like on foot, with equipment, with everything. And then how I found the journey, so I was running one day, like this in a race, and I was like, oh my God, I used to do this before. This is what I always did, and that's why I was good at navigating, and that's why I was linking all the events that happened to me, to that day, to that moment, and it was like a deja vu. I was like, I've done this before, but I never knew how to call it, and this is the endurance. This is what I can do. But I never knew that I did that for years. So I did that like every day. I was the only, I'm not going to say only journalist, but yes, I was the only journalist with a team that we were out every day in a front line.
Yeah. When that kind of moment happened, like, was that sort of, I mean, I guess that's something that you could probably always look back on when you are a mid-race going through that specific journey of a race, like to kind of like it must be uplifting in some ways too, right? To kind of like knowing that the confidence that like, hey, I've done this, I can do this, like I know what I'm doing, kind of. Despite, I mean, each race is different in the terrain, and it's technical in different ways, and the weather could be different, but like kind of to have something grounding you, right?
Yes, so basically, I mean, there are moments. So in every race, there is a different story or different elements that I learn for myself, or that I get hooked to. One thing that it has been there from the start that I learned and still continues is, and I've explained this to my kids and to my son Lear especially, who's 14. And who's very interested in sports and the dynamic of the trail running, is how do you overcome? How do you pass the barrier when your brain, your body says stop? You can't do this. You can't lift another leg, and it is as if, like I said to Lear, as if like somebody takes your leg and is pulling down, and you can't move anymore. And then I sit and I just go back and I just say, okay, I look at the route. I see, and I say, okay, I'm just going to go to that stone. So then I go to that stone and I say, okay, that's my tree is, but we're talking about 2-3 meters. I am, and like that for hours. This is how overplay with my brain. So I take my brain and I take it away from my body, and I have learned to, do you call this meditation? Do you call this, I don't know how you call this, but I can actually put my brain in that moment or another thing that we do is the last 10 kilometers, I can do that. I transfer my body in Pristina, even though I'm running. I don't know.
So we're far away.
Wherever I am in a race, and I can't do, and I'm talking about the last 10 kilometers, and I close my eyes, and I say, okay, switch off now. So I go back. It's 5:40. I'm running Gurmia, and I go, and I follow my route. Okay. And I go like that. So I can transfer myself, and this is how I do it. And then sometimes, obviously, it's painful. And then sometimes I see myself, okay, and I say, okay, I just want to reach the medal. So I know the medal is there. Yeah. I know the finish line is there. And I say, okay, the joy, because I have a routine that every time I go, I come back home.
Yes.
I take the medals and I give it to kids, and they rotate which one is going to carry first one or the
and you made me laugh, because now they know which one's a good medal and not a good medal.
Right? So Harriet says, okay, so this one is good, so this one is not good. So that's the joke that we have now.
The mental fortitude is just incredibly impressive, but I think what's really kind of a powerful takeaway is, and I think this is where sometimes, at least as a coach or a fitness trainer and working with different people, is the small steps, right? To having a plan and a system, right? Which tends to be so much more powerful than the goal. The goal is important too, and you need to have a kind of the sight, the vision to go ahead. But as you mentioned, sort of those 2-3 meters and being able to repeat that's sort of the plan, the system that you have on, and then that's accentuated so much more because of the fortitude and the experience. But like, a lot of people just see the goal, right? And then sometimes that goal, I think it's usually the right goal, but it's just, there is no plan or like the incremental steps. They miss that out. And so when the goal fails, it's more likely that the goal wasn't the bad goal. It's because there was no plan, right? It's just kind of like, from A to B, and B is this incredible transformation.
That's right.
But behind that is, these 2-3 meters. And sometimes those 2-3 meters, maybe you even have to take a meter back, right? Because of the terrain or whatever. But then you're like, oh, hey, next street. And then you kind of, you have so much experience and strength that now you know that, okay, I need to maybe just take that moment. What is the immediate next step? And then just keep going, right? Because it's so easy to get lost of like finish line. Oh, but it's so far away. And then you're kind of almost adding unnecessary pressure to you, right?
That's right. So in this journey, as I say, I learned about myself. I learned about the mental side. I learned about the food, nutrition, which is very important, recovery, mistakes that we do during the race, and the little steps. So the goal has to be realistic. Yeah. The goal has to be individual for yourself. Sometimes you do it as a team, but you need to be realistic, and you need to know your faults, the faults of your body, positives of your body, and the support you're going to, and how you're going to create that energy around yourself. But the trail running, as well, the physical, is very mental. You have to be not very strong, but you have to accept that things are going to happen.
Yeah, because it's
during the journey.
100K,
exactly.
27 hours or whatever, things are going to happen, right?
Sometimes you train so well, and that day you wake up, you have tummy ache. You have your periods. Your body's changing. Yeah. Or something happened. Or sometimes it happened to me. I went so unprepared to the race, and I finished. It was so good. Sometimes it happened. I prepared myself. Something happened, and it was just, I was like dying until the last minute. I never gave up, but I knew I could do it. Yeah. But there was a moment that you just wanna give up.
I think what sets trail running, and especially ultras, apart is, by definition, or like, the yes, we talk about extremes, and that can happen in any sport. But I think the fact that you are already pushing yourself to these extreme distances, like it's because someone could, I guess the analogy that I'm trying to say is like, football, maybe you play 90 minutes and you really push hard. But sometimes in those 90 minutes, maybe, because it's a team effort or whatever, it's maybe you don't go as far as the extreme. But anyone running 100K, like already walking 100K is an extreme kind of event, right? So during that period where you're engaged in this race or so, like, yeah, as you mentioned, things are going to change, whether it's the your body, the weather, the element, there's so many moving variables here, right? And then I think as someone that kind of learned, you went through it, like with like a lack of experience, let's say, or a lack of knowledge. Right. And then each time you're kind of learning more about yourself. And then I think you also add that one huge factor is being a woman, right? As well. The body is different, right?
Body is different. So exactly. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that, because we'll have lots of women listeners as well. And this goes about women who do any sport, actually. In one of the races, I'm just going to give you my example. In one of the races, a couple of years ago, I had my periods, I had a tampon, and after a few hours, I could see that something is happening in my body. So I decided to take the tampon out, and I just couldn't put the tampon, the new one in. And so I decided to just leave it and just be like that. So I was running with a very good friend of mine and my partner at that time, Uragan, my running partner. And I went to him. We were in the middle of the mountains. Yeah. And I said, listen, Uragan, this is what is happening to me. And in case if I'm falling down or if I'm fainting, you know that it's not my heart or it's not my stomach, but I might be losing blood, but something is happening down there, but I don't know what's happening. Yeah. So these are the first races that we were doing. At that time, I couldn't. Yeah. There was no Instagram or anything that you can relay with. So anyway, so I finished the race, and then after a few weeks, I sat and I had the time to reflect on what happened. Yeah. And then I was researching, and I saw that actually in trail running, it happened to another swimmer who she got sepsis and she died. Okay. And then slowly I went to the chats, and I could see that in a trail running, that the women body and especially tampons are recommended not to take because our muscles are contracting. And different bodies react differently. Yeah. So then that's something that you don't want to you have to avoid sepsis. Yeah. So, and then slowly, and I started to tell other women.
Sure, yeah.
Trail runners. Yeah. And then I said, this is what is happening. And in case if this happens, please don't do this, don't use this. Or if you use, you have to change every hour, or you have to do different stuff. So as recommended by the doctors. But I'm saying is, I'm going to relate to now. So, now it's more and more women are talking trail runners and professional sports women are talking about educating. Yeah. First, educating men, professionals, that women's body is reacts differently, different circumstances, estrogen, or everything. Hormones,
your monthly cycle, right? Yes, that's already.
Yes. Yeah. So now more and more people are talking about all of that, and things are finally being listened. Women are being listened, and hopefully things will start and change and men being educated about this. That we are very different. That we react differently according to every month. Towards the, it's not just that time when you have the periods. It's like week before as well. So
like your energy levels, everything
affects your body. So about the races and during the races. So so you need to be. So first we need to educate women that this is normal, that this is what's happening. You need to get prepared. So now I know. So we know what's happening, and then I react towards that. Yeah. But the professional women, sports women here need to think, and their trainers
Yeah.
need to be. First, the trainers need to be, because women they have so much pressure towards them.
And I think I mean, first of all, these things, like, the body should be celebrated, right? And that shouldn't be an additional perceived obstacle for trying something out, right? It's like, it's okay. Like these,
Yeah, exactly.
but then, same sport, men, women, but then the approach that has to be tailored to that, right? And I think when it comes to the training, for example, like according to, let's say if we talk about the cycle, like there are moments where, yes, you can push harder because the energy levels are there. And for X, maybe, when it is that time of the month, then you have to maybe ease off. Or again, each woman is going to be different, right? You need to kind of like, there's a little bit of trial and error. But then I think what's really great to hear is sort of, as literally a trailblazer, to educate the team, like, hey, listen, like,
exactly,
we're all in this, we're all enjoying this, but like our bodies are very different.
Yeah.
And we, at the very minimum, at least need the understanding that, like, okay, you guys need to do your thing.
Yeah.
And maybe a step further is like, and, okay, just let us know how we can help. Right?
That's right. And just being open. Yeah. Being open. And this is what I say to all when I have lots of actually runners in Kosovo. They write to me and say, "Oh, how do you do that? Do you feel like that? How do you feel when?" Which is really good. So, and I always recommend to run in a trail running long distance. I always recommend to run with someone, because it is you'll find yourself, no matter how you train, you'll find yourself in a sad moment, and those sad dark moments can drag you out, and only you can find the strength is if you have with someone and you can talk about openly. Yeah. So if you're true to yourself and tell about your faults and confess how you feel, then always the other person will be able to lift you up. Yeah. So, and I'm going back now to a year when I was training for one of the Hamburg Marathon in the winter in Pristina. Yeah. And during the winter, there was snow, ice, and everything. And I had a freak accident. I slipped on a black ice, as we call it, towards the end. So basically, I finished my route. In the end, when my body was totally relaxed, I just slipped and I broke my ankle. I had a huge surgery. So now at the moment, I have a titanium plate and 6 screws. And
yes. I'm sorry, it's not a laughing matter, but what you're about to explain is just, I don't know how else to put it, as like, it's, like you make miracles happen. I know, I can't say that, but it's just, I think the mental side, this is the mental side. So at the moment I fell, I said to the guys, so one of the guys was, first I rejected to be carried, which was number one fault, because I was trying to walk. Yeah. And then I could see that you didn't know the seriousness of the injury at the time. So.
And then he carried me, and I said, no, I can drive myself. So I said, just put me inside the car. So I went in the car, and the moment I couldn't press the clutch, and I just waved, and I said, I need help. Yeah. So after I went to the doctor anyway. So immediately they said, no, this is serious injury. You need to have surgery now. We consulted other doctors, and everyone gave me the same diagnosis. And the moment when I saw my doctor, it was Dr. Cherem, which he's amazing. At that time, it was my first time when I met him. And the first thing I said to him, I said, I have a marathon in Hamburg. I need to run that marathon. And he was like, let's just finish the surgery. When is that? And I said, well, it's 12 weeks. He said, no. So let's just finish and we'll talk. Yeah. Anyway, so we finished the surgery, everything. And I started reading about the process of what's happening after. And I could see that, okay, surgery is one important thing. Yeah. But post-surgery is very important. So then I went to him and I said, please, give me a protocol that I can bring myself to run a marathon. And he said, no, it's impossible. He said, there is no protocol. There is nothing. No one does this.
Because
And
the gravity, just for because you shared a little bit of this before, but the gravity of the injury was, I mean, it was also like, can you walk again, right?
that's
That
right.
was
That's
also
right.
kind of in
That's right.
jeopardy, right?
That's right. Like
So,
tennis was off, no lateral movements for months.
yeah,
No nothing. So it was like trail running. No, we don't know.
yeah,
You can't do this. It's all uphill, down.
yeah,
No lateral movements at all. Nothing. And he said, no, we just have to go by the protocol. This is the protocol you're going to follow. These are the physio exercises you're going to do.
yeah,
And then we'll see. And then slowly like that. So then I found the physio, with always talking to the doctor, obviously.
yeah.
But then I was doing extra things, hours and hours, slow movements in the house. And then slowly like that, I thought, okay, I think I can bring myself. So in 10 weeks, I have a footage with my crutches. I'm in Gurmia. I'm trying. I have the cast off. I have the boot on.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. And then I take the boot off. So then I go to the doctor. He said, okay, take the boot off. Now you start a walk. But then I was like, okay, he says walk, so I can go back. I can go back to Gurmia.
And is this that 2 to 3 trees kind of moment, like 2 to 3 meters to
literally.
next?
So
Yeah.
Run, stop, because I was just like, I need to wait and see what's happening to my leg.
Yeah.
Run, like my husband didn't know what I was doing. My doctor didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I only had my friends from running. I was saying, okay, you just stick with me. So I run and see, stop, run and stop and see in case if something happens. So then the week comes of the marathon. Rory, my husband, says, "There's no way you're not going.
Yeah.
That's you only way that you're going to go is if you get the permission from the doctor."
Uh-huh.
So I go to the doctor and I explain, and I said, and he said, okay. He said, if you do this, which is unheard of, then I can take this case and I can present. But he said the only way I can give you the permission is if you promise that you're going to stop the moment you feel, the burning sensations, bit of like sickness, or you're not feeling well. You have to promise, or the heat coming from your foot and up, throbbings, you have to stop.
Yeah, because there's also this interesting, like, your mental fortitude and sort of grit and sometimes it's too good for yourself.
That's
right.
That's right.
And
that's right.
With the adrenaline and
exactly. And this is what he said. He said,
Yeah.
I have a fear, knowing your character, your threshold, the pain threshold is so high.
Yeah.
The probability of you to stop is very little, he said. So you have to stop. That you have to promise me that you have to stop, because your leg, if that happens, that's really bad, he said. Elida, that's really bad.
Yeah.
So you have to promise, and you have to listen to your body and be present in the moment and stop. And I said, I will stop. I promise I will stop. And I went there, and it was like, and every time I ran, I was like, oh my God, is it everything inside?
Yeah.
Because I had the fear in my head. I was like, are the screws going to come out? Because that's what I was thinking. I just didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And then, I think we finished at 4:15 or 4:16, the marathon. And it was just, and I sent a message, and I gave him my medal. And it was unheard of.
That is just incredible, because it's sort of, I mean, this is less than 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Right after the operation or the injury.
Yeah.
And it's a scenario where people would be happy to be walking, right?
That's right.
Like, I mean, even that probably, I mean, I guess I wouldn't know what the timeline is for people to be able to walk comfortably, but like...
even the elite runners can't do that in the recovery. Recovery for them is at least 3 to 5 months for the elite runners. So when he consulted the doctors in Austria, Dr. Cherem here, and they said no one has done this.
Yeah.
For this kind of process, this kind of injury, this operation, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
So now it's they take this and I shared my process. I kind of videoed every process, what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had and I would have never been able to do this without the support of Arinita, my friend, who came to me at hours and stood with me to do this lateral slow movement. It's all slow. We're not talking about
No.
we're not talking. These are gentle.
Everything has to
like
be controlled,
moving,
right?
Just finger, just toe. Like just picking the towel up.
Yeah.
So it's starting like that. And then support of my family, obviously, because I would not been able to do this.
Oh, and then to go run
And then
for
to
4
run,
hours.
and then just, and now, so that I still have, I went to see him last year and I said, what do you think? Shall we take them out? And he was like, you're running. You're doing all these ultramarathons. I was like, no, just leave them be. Leave them be. They're there. And get used to them. And we only take them if they're causing you any problem.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of like, let's cross that bridge when we have to, kind of thing.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. But
Right,
they're
'cause
there,
it
they're
seems to be-
adjusted, they're adjusted to your bones, and just leave them be.
One final question, Elida, as we wrap up this episode. You mentioned the journey that you go through during these races, right? And each race is a journey in its own right. Are there sort of, I guess there must be moments where like that you maybe are there repeated moments where like each journey kind of there's a place that you go to kind of like that is sort of like the safe place or so, like is there like where you can always kind of count on like, okay, like I've been here before, I know this, and this is like the way to go. So like it is that kind of where you analyze the situation and you go like, all right, I need to just kind of go like it's these 2-3 meters that I need to focus on. But like in terms of sort of like, I guess that, I mean, is it like a familiar feeling, or is it sort of like because I guess during these races at these extreme situations, like it's sort of like, I guess, do you get transported to this place or kind of deep in, like, and is it also at the same time kind of like whilst is it familiar, is it sort of like, do you kind of realize or recognize that like, oh, this is kind of that learning moment that I
Yes.
Yeah, like you almost seek out, kind of.
Yes.
I don't know that I don't know if I'm making myself clear in terms of like.
I mean, I know what you mean. So there are moments during the long races.
Yeah.
Where there are familiar situations or feelings that you encounter, and I say, okay, so this is kind of similar to the situation where my body, where the main problem in trail running during the races is eating. And drinking. Okay. So balancing salt, sugar, food, and then as well, you need to wee, which is the main thing. Yeah. So every literally, so I have now every hour and a half, I sit down and I have, because you want all the body inside to go as normal as possible.
Right.
So, and because everything is exploding. And this is another thing in one of the races where I found that my stomach was going up and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Yeah. And I found out because I didn't wee for a long time. Yeah. I was drinking. Yes, the salt is coming out, or the face, you touch your face, the salt, you can feel all the minerals of body minerals are coming out. But then I found out what's happening. So now I know. So there are certain things that you do. But the moments, the hard moments that when in hard moments when you think, okay, is this a time now? Always is this a time where my body's going to stop?
Yeah, because there must be a looming doubt.
It's always
right?
there.
Yeah.
So, and then you want to find that right sign, right sign. So, for me, it's just at that time I always take myself. I try and come out of my shell, and then I always think about women. I always think about the journey as a little girl as well. So I can transform myself to when I was a little girl and how I used to play for hours outside in front of my building with the boys and hours football, hours with a bike, jumping from one building to the other. I mean, doing all sorts of crazy things, skiing. So I was like, and I can transfer myself to those kind of moments. Then there are moments where I can transfer my mental side to my kids. And I say, okay, what does this mean for my child if I stop, or if I get injured, or if I do something crazy? So now before I do the climbs, or before I cross to something that is drops, I always stop and I say, okay, I assess the situation and I try to avoid any falling down or doing something like that. Where before I never do, I just used to go. I never thought. So now it's always that hesitation that sometimes you're overcautious, but sometimes you just have to make that right call at that moment. But
which comes with the maturity and the experience with more races that you've and the more journeys you've gone through, right?
Exactly. So first, as a woman, you wanna, and I know I have people that follow me, and there were times when I didn't post anything, and I had people saying, "Are you okay? Why are you not running? We'll follow you. What's happening?" So then I was like, "Oh my God! I have all these people, friends who I keep inspiring them, but at the same time I'm inspired by others, as happened now with we have Jasmine, basically the ultra trail, the first one who Jasmine Paris, the one that finished Barclays. And we are in everyone, like not just the women, but obviously as a woman, I feel like, oh my God, so connected to her because she represented, she finished that race under 99 seconds.
It was really close.
99 seconds. But I can relate to that because one of my first races was 1 minute. 1 minute before the deadline, we finished the race. That was my first long distance 79 official race. So, and I could just see her face and the pain.
Because the famous photo is her slumped over basically after the finish line, right? She's just exhausted, right?
Exactly. And now this is the thing that we have. We all in trail runners, I mean, all in our group, we have one picture before and a picture in the end, and we compare. Because and that's the journey. That's the journey of life. I call it a journey of life. Whatever happens in 24 hours, this is a journey of our life that it continues. I mean, it's always like ups and downs, and this is where we're going to have ups and downs always. But the little moments that we have in these races are the moments that we kind of keep hold of. And I say I learn every time I'm in the race. I learn something about myself. I learn something about nature. I connect a lot with the nature, the energy, with the unknown that it's outside. I find peace more within me. And I have the energy to change others more. I find another motivation to do something to help, or to do something for community, or for my country, or for my family, something. So it's something for me to another step back. Okay, the life is so beautiful, and you just wanna enjoy and just wanna change, and you wanna be part of this beautiful, beautiful place that we live in.
I think there's probably no better way to kind of wrap up the episode with that. Really inspiring to say the least. Again, thank you so much for sharing as much as you did. And I think that it certainly would inspire others, men and women, to kind of embark on, whether it is kind of ultra, trail running, even running or something, right? That kind of journey. and to kind of also, teach them in the sense that like it's the journey, right, is, I mean, it sounds so cliche to say like it's the journey that counts, like goals, they come and go kind of thing, but to kind of go through those the peaks and valleys, right, like the ups and downs, and then like to, I guess, keep moving, right?
Ups and downs, and just talking about ups and downs.
Yeah,
And
sharing
learning,
it. Yeah.
sharing. And this is what I say, it's not that I'm strong. No, I have luck, and I had luck that I have a family and friends that I can share my journey, and I can reflect. Now I have learned for a couple of years to sit down and reflect on my mistakes and successes, and be proud of those, So for me, it's, and I say to my kids, I don't want anything in the world. I just want you to know the world is small for you, because you can do anything you want if you want to.
Yeah.
But same time, the world is so big, and you can learn. And I've learned through my travels, and I learned through the work and all the experience, life experience that I had until now. But just being open to learning, and always learning. And I always say, it's good, anything. Like now I sit here and I can tell you 5 things that I've learned from the studio here. And this is the joy of we as a humans, that you want to learn stuff and be respectful, respect others, and do what you want. Do what you want, and be in nature as much as you want. It's for free. Just walk. You don't have to run. Walk.
Yeah.
Just go out, and Kosova has such a beautiful, Kosova, Albania, Montenegro. I mean, it's just beautiful country that we live here, that you have everything around you, and just take it all, soak it all in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I think it's really, it's starting to no longer be a secret, and I think rightfully so, because it is something that should really be widely celebrated, even more. Kosova and the surrounding region, right? There's so much that's on offer, right?
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, absolutely. Like in terms of the perspective that you laid out there, I think that's the beautiful approach. Keeping an open mind, willing to learn, willing to grow, and I think that will already kind of take you places, right? So
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Elida, thank you so much for sharing, your stories, your challenges, as well as your time. It's been a real pleasure having this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the space, and I'm very bit sorry about my duck. I'm sounding like
Not
a duck.
at all. Not at all.
Thank you for giving me the space and the time to talk about the thing that I'm very passionate about.
Absolutely. Anytime. All right, guys, that was another episode of Never the Right Time. Thank you for tuning in. Urban FM 103.5, 105.5 FM. Ciao.